This episode of the Haunting You podcast is brought to you by VFX. Scare, entertain, and promote with VFX products. Learn more at vfxcreates.com.
Coming to you live from the Chamber of Hunter Studios. This is Haunting You. I'm John Schelt.
I'm Keoni Hutton.
And I'm Leslie Reed.
Welcome, everyone, back to the Haunting You podcast. I hope you had just an absolutely fantastic time celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And it's been kind of exciting here in Maryland for the last couple of days because, the Great American State Fair thing is starting to get underway. And so we've had B-2 bombers flying over us all day.
Those are entertaining.
Which is kind of cool. It's been a while since I've gotten to see them flying this regularly. I was in
that's
Roswell.
Usually a good thing, but yes.
Accurate. I think I was in Roswell because Roswell. Very very close to a base where there are a bunch of B-2s. My wife actually brought that up because she's like, they look, if anyone doesn't know what a B-2 bomber looks like, go Google it real quick. They're super flat and the stealth aircraft. My wife is like, they look like alien spacecraft. So naturally, they would be hanging out around Roswell, right?
I just kind of thought they looked like the bat plane.
100% look like a bat plane. I'm surprised John didn't throw that out before you did.
I know. Disappointed. Must have gotten lost.
He must have gotten lost.
I was being tackled at that particular moment. Sorry about that.
Typical.
Which, we could go on iteration. Hold on. I'll send you some information. Hang on a minute.
At a certain point, that's going to have to stop being an excuse for you.
When his son outgrows him.
So 2 years?
2 years, give or take. Yeah, exactly.
So when you said that, I was literally going to get him, and then I heard bat plane, and I rushed back to the phone to hit mute. I didn't make it in time.
Good timing. It was just good timing. Well, we are, halfway through the July at this point, and it is getting very close to haunt season. In fact, hopefully all of your builds are progressing better than mine are, at least. But if not, there are still a few opportunities for you to get to a convention and find some inspiration, find some cool products, and maybe that will give you the kick you need to really take it into high gear. The first up is, of course, just a couple of days from now, Texas Haunters Convention, July 18th and 19th in Irving, Texas. Leslie and I are going to be there. Please come visit us at the booth. We would love to see you, do a recording with you, and you may be featured on a future episode of the Haunting You podcast if you come see us at the convention. So I got the t-shirts ordered, Les. T-shirts are coming.
Excellent.
I've got all the printed material. Just pick that up from the printer today. We are in great shape. We're going to be ready for it. I'm so excited.
Excellent.
And John, I even bought a t-shirt for you.
John will have clothes. Does that make him a free elf if we give it to him?
And I'm going to drop it off with you before we go to Texas.
I was like, okay, hang on. I have been promised this before.
So I can't sell it to someone this time. I will get it to you.
I'll drop it off first.
See, the thing is, in my head, I'm like, that does make sense. However, I know when he's on the road, if he sees something, and that is the only capital you have,
you never know.
There's at least a 60-70% chance that shirt is being bartered.
It is still a possibility. I will not dispute that. But if you're not anywhere near Texas, perhaps you're near Kalamazoo, Michigan. You can go to Hunters Against Hate, the event number 4, the 4 Horsemen of the Gay Apocalypse, August 1st and 2nd in Kalamazoo, Michigan. One of my personal favorites, Midsummer Scream, Long Beach Convention Center in Long Beach, California, August 7th to the 9th. And that's pretty much going to wrap up convention season for 2026. So, we are coming to the end of the convention season, which means haunt season is right behind it, right around the corner. Oh, and I'm getting scared. We have a lot of work to get done.
Yeah, but you should be all built and have your inspections passed by the time that this actually comes out.
The warehouse should be all built by the time this gets out. I had my first successful county inspection today, in fact, the day that we're recording. It was the grading inspection. They liked my retaining walls. It was the one I was most worried about. Free and clear. The county's happy with it. I'm thrilled. Now I just got to get the building inspector out, and then I can actually start building inside the inside the building instead of building the building.
Yeah. Always have to differentiate between those two options.
Accurate. But because it is now mid-July, we need to start thinking about how we are going to staff our haunts. And I hope all of you are also thinking about how you're going to staff your haunts. So to help us do that, we have brought on a very special guest tonight to discuss. He is a haunt actor himself, but relevant to, and he's also a podcaster, which is kind of how we got connected, but relevant to tonight's discussion, he goes around and does training for actors at haunts. If you go onto his website, rabidbadger.org, you can see a list of the 40 plus haunts that he has worked with over the years through his consulting business. We are super excited to welcome to the Haunting You podcast, Mr. Drew Badger, co-owner and one of the hosts of Big Scary Show and owner of Rabid Badger Haunt Consulting. Badger, we are so excited to have you here.
As you should be, sir. Although I guess I should count myself fortunate because I will not be coming by your booth at the Texas Haunters Convention, so I guess that would have excluded me from any future podcasts, so I'm glad I am here tonight in case I had to make an excuse. Although Jonna from the show will be at the Texas Haunters Convention, and I am sure that you and her will have a nice conversation.
Absolutely. We'll have a nice conversation on camera, to be sure. So if anyone wants to see that, make sure to go check out our social media on Instagram at Haunting University or Facebook.com/HauntingU and YouTube at Haunting You. And of course, all of the Big Scary Show social medias as well.
Wow.
But that's not
your plugs at the beginning. I like that.
We throw them in.
When we can manage.
Whenever it just naturally flows into the conversation.
Or we can, force them as reasonably as possible. It was a nice one, though, Kay. I approve.
Thank you.
All about the plugs.
That's right. So, Drew, before we get into it, give us a little bit of your background. Talk a little bit about how you got into the haunted attraction industry, how you got into the Big Scary Show, and how you got into this haunt consulting business.
Good gracious, that's a heck of a topic. I should say back in the before time.
Because you've been doing this a while now.
I worked in my very first haunted attraction in 1977.
Where was that?
I would be willing to bet that none of your hosts were even alive at that point.
Accurate. And you're beating us by like 10 years.
Yep.
All you young'uns.
Uh-huh.
I tell this story during my workshop sometimes because I like to go off on tangents. But back in 1977, when I was a wee lad of excuse me, I got volunteered, quote unquote, to go work at my elementary school's Tunnel of Terror during the Halloween carnival, back when Halloween was still being used at elementary schools in the state of North Carolina as opposed to fall or harvest. And it was a pretty lame little spooky attraction. It was a bunch of refrigerator boxes taped together, and all the second graders had drawn pictures of monsters and witches and ghosts and everything, and you crawled through this thing and absolutely nobody was scared of anything. So me and my partner had a plan that nobody else knew about. Halfway through the tunnel, there was a refrigerator box that was standing upright so you could stretch your legs. There's probably like 10 boxes together, and around box 5 it was standing upright. So I sent my partner to the cafeteria to get a bowl of ketchup. I pulled out my trusty little pocket knife, back when you could still take pocket knives to elementary schools, and proceeded to cut 2 circular holes on either side. And when he came back, we coated our arm in ketchup. I had my left arm, he had his right arm, and just to our luck, the very next group of people to come through the Tunnel of Terror was 3 or 4 5th grade girls.
Oh,
I don't need to tell you as an actor that girls between the ages of, say, 12 and 19 are crap to any haunted attraction actor, because all you have to do is look at them and say, hi, and they scatter like rabbits. But I digress. Once they went through the Tunnel of Terror, got to the point where they could stand up, my partner and I stuck our arms through the holes, covered in ketchup, started yelling and screaming. They started yelling and screaming. And about 5 minutes later, we had a line of about 30 to 40 kids waiting to go through the Tunnel of Terror. So It was all fun and dandy until a teacher found out and brought an end to my haunted attraction career that year.
How old were you when you were doing this? Were you also a fifth grader?
I was a wee lad. Let's just say that.
Wee lad, I.
I did learn two very valuable things that I still tell people during my actor workshops to this very day.
Do tell.
One is that you can make a minor tweak or modification to a room and really make a difference in the way that you can scare somebody. And two, ketchup on newly grown hair on your arms is a real pain in the neck to get off when all you have is a elementary school bathroom that runs water that's too cold and has no soap.
Yeah.
So don't use ketchup in your haunted attraction, because when it dries and you are just now, for the first time in your life, growing hair on your arms, it's a mite painful. Thank you
Poor
for
man's
coming to my
wax job.
TED Talk.
Poor man's wax job. You're fine.
I love everything about that story. That is
And that
fantastic.
story is absolutely 100% true.
That might be the best origin story I have heard from the industry. That's amazing.
I have better stories
Oh,
in my
no doubt of
long and
that.
storied career, so to speak.
And I hope you work some of those in as we go.
Oh, we'll see. As many plugs as you get in, stories I will get in. No,
Sure.
but I worked through high school, college. We built haunts in dorms and for scout troops and for VFDs and all sorts of stuff. I didn't become what I would consider a quote unquote professional actor until around 2002, when I was hired to work at a very large theme park in the Charlotte, North Carolina area that borders it. If you know the area, you know the area.
Mhm.
And worked there as an actor for many, many years. In fact, the first year I was there as an actor, this park at the time was owned by Paramount, and the vice president of Paramount, not Paramount Parks, but Paramount, there was a rumor that he was touring all the parks, because this was literally only the maybe third year that they had a Halloween event at this place. So he was touring all the parks in the Southeast, walked through my area, walked through all the other areas, and I was on the list of about 5 or 6 exceptionally creepy scare scenes, according to him. So, of course, as in this industry, everyone has an ego. That just caused my head to swell up like, the aliens from the first Star Trek pilot.
Yeah.
And I continued to work as a scare actor at that point at that park for many, many years. After that, I realized that a lot of people, especially the first and second year people, were coming to us older people, meaning experienced, not just physically old, although I was, and asking, what works in a scene like this? How can I make this scene better? What can I do here? Because training at theme parks back then was adequate at best. The big scare schools and things like that were not very common. There was maybe 1 or 2 people that was actually making videos at the time of how to be a good scare actor. The internet is still in its infancy at this point, so you couldn't just go onto YouTube. It may not even existed at the point. And excuse me.
It was very early, yeah. Very
and
early
so,
on YouTube.
Using, at the time, several years of working in different types of haunts, I would offer my advice. Some other people would offer their advice. And after this park had been sold to Cedar Fair, they went from 75 actors to about 400 actors, and the need for training them really skyrocketed. And of course, the training at the time was still reasonable, not exceptional. It was very much, we have 400 people. We're going to teach you the basics, and after that, you're on your own kind of thing. So, a lot of people were asking us more and more, hey, I'm going to be working in this scene. I'm going to be working in this house. I'm going to be working in this scare zone. What works? What doesn't? And just using observations that I had in my experience and the other people, we kind of unofficially became the people to talk to. We were not, asked by the park to be trainers or anything, although I had pitched that idea once or twice. They were like, no. So after that, I was like, I could make more money in a weekend doing this freelance than basically an entire season of working here as an actor.
Yeah.
And I left in 2009 and started Rabid Badger Haunt Consulting. And right out of the freaking gate, I had a friend of mine who worked on the battleship USS North Carolina down in Wilmington who told me, hey, we're building a haunt on the ship. We're going to call it the Ghost Ship. We're going to use it as a fundraiser.
Yes.
Know anybody that could help us and help train some actors?
Well,
yes, I do actually. So
funny
my
you mentioned.
first major job 17 years ago, I literally had started this company less than 2 months before, was to go down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and help them design, help them train, help them create the Ghost Ship on the battleship USS North Carolina, which is a state war memorial.
Freaking awesome.
They don't get a dime in funds from the state. Everything
Yeah,
is fundraising and buying tours. If you've ever been on the ship, it is creepy as all get out when they just turn the battle lights on. So we had a lot of material to work with, but I spent an awful lot of late Sunday nights having to get up at 6 to go to work the next day, 4-hour drive away. I spent a lot of late Saturday and Sundays working with the program director and the other people, working, great planning, all this stuff, trying to get everything working. We came up with this great concept, presented it to the captain of the ship, and he said no. We were going to we were going to do an incredible haunted battleship scene.
Mhm.
And he said no, because he did not want to, for lack of a better word, people had died on the ship in World War II. It was the most decorated battleship in the Pacific Theater. It was a very, very honored ship. And he thought this was kind of maybe dishonoring some of the people by having soldiers and sailors as corpses, zombies, and all that. So we went from a haunted battleship to a haunt on a
battleship,
which really changed the dynamic. But it was still very fun, even though, you're walking down a corridor and all of a sudden there's a cemetery in the middle of a wide spot in the middle of a battleship. But hey, we go to haunted houses to suspend a belief anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right. We just got to stretch that suspense a little bit more.
Just suspend reality. You're in a haunt on a battleship. We ran through some classes, taught the people how to do things. They were only open 4 nights, and those 4 nights they earned enough money to pay for over half of the painting job. They were going to repaint the ship over the course of the next year. In 4 nights, they raised more than half of that, which was incredible.
Great. That's awesome.
And the VFWs loved it. The American Legions loved it. We had 4 complaints the entire season. And 3 of those people had never been on the ship. So
1 complaint a night and 1 for 4 for actually showing up. That's solid.
Any idea how many people came through in those 4 days?
I do not know those numbers.
Yeah,
I was not
just
privy
curious
to that. Me too. I'd love to know. I worked with them, and I worked with them the next year, and then they hired somebody. And I don't think they're doing the Ghost Ship anymore. I'm not sure exactly why, because I thought it was a great fundraiser. But that's where it kind of started. Some local haunts started asking me about training. I started putting on classes for haunts in North and South Carolina. I got a couple of calls from other states. I started promoting myself at Transworld and Midwest Haunters and some other places. And it's just kind of taken off from there. So 17 years later, you said there was over 40 different haunts on my website. Well, you forgot the and many more.
And many more.
There.
Yeah.
I don't update that, but maybe once a year if I have new clients.
Sure. And I have to imagine you've gone back to many of those several times too.
I have my share of regulars, which is very nice.
Yeah. Well, let's dive in a little bit more onto kind of what you do with Rabid Badger Consulting and really, we want to talk about what home hunters should be doing, what pro hunters should be doing to get their actors ready for the season, for the upcoming season. So let's start at the very beginning, getting actors. Every single year, I'm seeing haunts complaining about the struggle that they're having trying to get actors. What have you seen work across, kind of in your experience?
The biggest problem I see is you advertise too late.
Mm,
You should be advertising in April, May, June. If you're advertising in August and you're opening at the end of September, that's too late. My
yeah.
opinion.
Uh-huh.
All of this is my opinion.
Noted.
I
Noted.
I think the biggest issue I see nowadays over the past, say, let's just say post-COVID,
Mm-hmm.
is people who are a little gun shy about working in enclosed areas with other people,
Sure.
especially when you have flu outbreaks or other things.
Yeah.
And people want to be paid. Used to be you could get volunteers, you could get service hours for your local high school, especially if the haunt was a charity or donated a portion of its proceeds to some charity and you could get that
Mhm.
qualified and signed off. Uh, Very rarely do you see people doing that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately or unfortunately, a lot of state labor departments are actually looking at that too. You know, is this free labor? Is this exploiting the working class? I don't know how you want to classify that, but a lot of people say, 10 years ago it was, hey, I'm going to earn my Christmas money or I'm going to earn some good money for the holidays. And nowadays it's like, I really want to be paid more. I have one of my clients says they pay their people $15 an hour and they still have trouble finding people who will work for that.
Yeah. 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 That particular case is do you know what the minimum wage is in that area?
Well, nationally it's 7.25. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But like
don't know what it is
where
per
I'm at
state.
where I'm at in Maryland, $15 is the minimum wage. So I'm curious if they're stuck, like if they're having trouble at minimum wage or if they're even exceeding it and still having
struggling.
trouble.
I'm sure it's exceeding what they pay for.
Mm.
I do know that they were very concerned because, as you know, living in the South, a Buc-ee's open near them, and Buc-ee's starts out at like 19 or
19.
20, and you get to work at other other days other than Friday and Saturday. So
Yeah.
they were very worried that it was going to lead off of their
Mhm.
numbers, but they've got a loyal base of good people, as do most haunts, and it's just problematic trying to find extras, I guess. I know haunts that do rotating or doubling up on employees where, one will work on a Friday and the other will work on a Saturday at this
Mhm.
same place so they're not burned out, especially if it's a strenuous area. But you can get creative. You can advertise in some creative areas and find yourself some good people. And sometimes people will answer an ad just because of the way it's written.
This is true.
Sure. We
I've
do a
had
lot of advertising on Facebook groups, especially like local Facebook groups or various haunt groups. Where else would you recommend looking?
But do you work near a large university or even a small one with a theater department?
I do
Can't
not.
tell you. I can't tell you how many people do not go to their local high school drama clubs or community college theater majors, theater groups, and say, "Hey, I've got an opportunity for you to do some acting through the fall weeks if you would like to." And these people know how to put on a performance in
Mhm.
most cases. That's how one of my daughters, who was in theater in high school, that's how she got her job working at her first haunt many, many years ago,
Sure.
was that she was in theater and they were very impressed by her audition. So, and like you said, Facebook groups, Instagram posts, other posts that, whatever the kids use these days. I'm an old man. I still don't know what a TikTok is, but I'm sure somebody is out there putting out a video on TikTok saying, "Hey, come work at our haunted attraction. Here's what you get out of it." But I think the bottom line, and it's a little sad to say, a lot of people are now doing it strictly because they're getting paid to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back 20 years ago when I was a fledgling actor, I was like, man, I would do this for free. I just love this. I have 3
Yeah.
kids, including twins, and this is better therapy, cheaper than any psychiatrist could ever be. I don't have that nagging pain in the lower back at all during spooky season because I just get to blow it all out in one glorious 6-week period.
Yep.
100% accurate. When you're recruiting for actors, are you looking for particular skills? Are you holding auditions? Or are you really just kind of casting a wide net and seeing what lands?
No, that's really such a vague question because every hunt is different. I mean,
Sure.
I don't mean that to sound as a negative. You have people that would absolutely just do this because they're so passionate about spooky stuff. They love horror movies. They love, you know, scaring their friends, and they all dress in black, and they all listen to, certain types of music that you would associate with the Halloween season. And they're like, I just can't wait till my local haunted house is getting ready to hire because I am first in line. I'm going to bring all my spooky wearing black friends and all that with me. Sometimes you just have to bring bodies because you just literally need bodies in a haunt. And I mean living bodies, not the other kind.
I was one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
both.
good to clarify
You need
that. In
You
this
never know.
industry, you have to. But I've had people who literally say, hey, bring your brother, bring your sister, bring your cousins, bring your mom, dad, whatever. We just need 10 more people this weekend. Otherwise,
Somebody with a pulse who can stand in the corner and look creepy.
basically,
And
in
if
a lot of
like,
cases.
and if the designer is doing a good enough job, like you can put someone in a corner, and as long as the atmosphere is good, anything that they do is going to get a good startle.
Yep.
Agreed. I have multiple characters that I use when I'm a freelance actor, and 2 of them don't say a word. They're completely silent characters. They work pantomime, they work through body language and movements and popping in and popping out. Always reset. And I think they're scarier or they get better results than my character that talks.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
that
something very
is
disconcerting of somebody standing there lurking and not saying something, especially when so many haunts rely on lines and speaking roles, and all of a sudden somebody's not, and you just kind of you're waiting for them to do something or say something. And it's that waiting anxiety of like, you're not talking. What are you going to do if you're not going to talk?
I also think that people are very uncomfortable with silence. And I'm seeing it especially in like my kids' generation, Gen Z. There's a constant desire for background noise, whether it's music or, the television in the background or TikTok video, whatever. They constantly have to be bombarded with noise, sound, and get very uncomfortable when it's just quiet.
Oh, because haunted houses are notoriously silent when you walk through them, right?
Fair point.
Of course.
But
your point is well taken, Leslie, especially when it comes to, okay, there's a figure in the corner. Is this a real figure or is it just a static prop?
Yeah.
I love lurking in a dark room and having people not know if I'm real or not. I don't think he's real. Go touch him. I ain't touching him. You touch him. I ain't touching him. And then you just make a sudden move and bam, they're in the next room.
They're gone. Yeah.
That's why I think I enjoy my silent characters. Plus, it saves your voice.
Yeah, accurate.
People who literally will jump out and then not reset. How many times have you seen that before? You go in there, they jump out, and then they just stand there waiting for you to go into the next room.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's one of the hardest things to get through people's heads these days, is that every scare has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the end sometimes is more important because I have been to haunts. I've gone on a lot of these tours with Midwest Haunters and all these other great conventions out there that do these tours, Legendary Haunt Tour, which, by the way, is coming to the Carolinas in November, and some other, haunted houses everywhere I go, and it never fails. You're going to be in an area, there's somebody lurking in this dark room, you haven't seen them, and all of a sudden, there they are, and then they don't do anything. They jump out, they do the pop scare, and then they expect you to run and scream, and when you don't react, because we're all just jaded haunters, and nobody scares us anymore, right? And then they just kind of like, oh,
now
go through that door.
Now.
Go that way. Yeah. But getting back to your original point, as far as what skills, I think the biggest and most important skill is the ability to adapt. I'm going to be a clown. I'm going to work in the clown house. Well, the guy in the butcher shop is sick tonight, so you're going to be the butcher guy. Oh, but I'm a clown. No, you're going to be a butcher tonight. So be adaptive, or be willing to adapt.
Yeah.
Be willing to modify your scares. Be willing to change, which is really hard for a lot of the younger people too, because they get into a rhythm. They get into what they want to do and what they like doing. And I think just being able to follow instructions, simple instructions, go off and have fun on your own, go off and modify, but not don't modify too
Not
much,
too
because the
much,
owners
yeah.
may not like you there. But do what's working and stick with it, but never be afraid to change it up, especially if people who come through the same room 2 or 3 times a night, because that happens in a lot of places.
Yep.
If you know that there's a group of people coming in and you've seen them before and they expect you to come out from the right side, come out from the left side. Or you'll hear people, which drives me nuts, hear people coming into a room saying, yeah, guy's going to come out of the dark hallway over here. Well, if I ever hear somebody telling their friends that the scare's coming from there, I'm not coming from there. I'll come from somewhere else, anywhere
else. Exactly.
Just to make them look bad. You said there was going to be coming from that area. No, he came from right there. Oh my God. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. As you're working with actors and preparing for a season, are there any red flags you're on the lookout for this person's going to be trouble, or I need to keep a closer eye on this one, that kind of thing?
I don't want to get into any specifics, but
please don't.
Sometimes you can look at a person and tell whether they're going to be a good actor or not. I don't like conceited people. I don't like people with the big ego. I don't like people saying, I'm the scariest thing you'll ever have at this haunt. Or I've seen it all. I've been working here for 5 years. Nobody could scare me. Well, maybe I can't scare you, but I guarantee you have not seen it all. I'm going into my 50th? I think it's 49th. Might be my 50th year of working as a haunter. Oh, God. 50. I'm going to say 49. I've been working in haunted houses going on 49 years right now, and I learn something new every single night, whether I'm working or going through. Every haunt that I've ever been in has something unique that no other haunt has.
Yeah.
Whether it's just a way they do things, whether it's a really cool effect, whether it's something completely blowing my mind away, or something subtle. And don't think that you've seen it all. Don't think that, I'm too good to play, a drop panel. No, you're not. Everybody does their time in the trenches, let's say.
Yeah.
We need good drop panel actors. And if you are a drop panel actor, be the best daggone drop panel actor in the country if you can, because there's plenty of them out there that aren't, we'll say.
Yeah, accurate.
I mean, assuming that we're talking about how do you find people, what are you looking for? Again, you can, the ego, that's something that you can clock pretty readily. But some of the things that you're talking about, like being able to adapt, being able to say, oh, my scare comes from this corner, but if I know somebody's coming in, I want to move to a different corner of the room. How do you run your auditions to find those people who can have that level of adaptation and that ability to learn how to do haunt style, let's call it improv, because in a lot of ways that is what we're doing. Is there's a lot of improv with haunt acting because you have some people aren't going to be scared. Some people are going to be so scared that they start running in the opposite direction. And as an actor, you're not just there to perform, you're also there as a guide and doing all of these other pieces. So when you're doing the auditions, what are you looking for? How do you set those up to find the people who have those skill sets or who can learn for those skill sets?
First of all, let me just go ahead and clarify. I do not do auditions.
Sure.
I
Okay.
will assist with the owners and the managers doing auditions. Sometimes I have sat in on an audition panel, but I do not run auditions because
Mhm.
it's not my haunt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will hire people that I think may do a good job, but that may not be what the owner wants. And ultimately, the guy who signs the checks, and for all you young kids, checks used to be a way that people got paid back in the day. We'll go into that another time. But, the guy that writes the checks makes the rules, basically. So when it comes to doing auditions, I have seen so many different things. I've seen people say, "Can you be here every Friday and Saturday?" You're hired. All the way to, I've literally had haunt owners say, "All right, pick up that red cup. Okay, bring it over there. Put it over there. Now stack two more on top of it. And now go grab this pen and go write something on the board. Write your name on the board." What does that have to do with haunted house acting? Nothing. But you're following directions without questioning. And a lot of times, the ability to say, "I need you to do this," and you're not going to argue back at it. "Why do I need to do that? Why don't I do it this way?" is a very, very non-red flag.
Useful
Let's say
skill.
that. It
Yeah.
can be a skill, the ability to follow directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how many years you've been in this business, but how many times have you run into somebody that just cannot follow the instructions that they're given in a haunted house?
I work with a lot of kids in my home haunt, and it can be very frustrating working with kids who come from, I'm going to say, families that are less disciplined than others. So yeah, totally feel it.
I mean, I work with adults who can struggle
Same
with the
here.
concept of following directions when the direction is take a picture of the receipt and send it to this text message at this phone number every
want to be
time you take a
reimbursed?
charge.
Take a picture of the receipt.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very, very,
It is a skill.
it is a skill and it's one that, I'm trying to think of how to say this. You would think would be so common because so much of our lives are about direction.
Mm.
And yet it's not common. And whether it's somebody who just isn't paying attention, isn't listening, doesn't understand, thinks they know better. I mean, there's a million different reasons for somebody to not be following directions, but the ultimate reality is they're not following directions. And in the haunts, you need somebody who can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that idea of just having someone following directions through the audition process to kind of measure that skill set. Are there other exercises or activities that you've seen work well during auditions?
Oh, yes, I have. How of the hosts here, how many of you are familiar with the old game show Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Freaking love Whose Line.
One of my favorite shows ever. Both
Now,
the original and the newest one.
did
Yeah.
you like the BBC version?
That one too.
I
Okay,
have not
good.
seen that one. Drew Carey is Drew Carey.
Please. Clive forever. Team
No,
Clive.
the
here.
British, British, so delightful.
Tony Slattery, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, one of my, I don't want to say trademarks, but one of the things I do with as many different workshops that I put on is I will divide the actors up into groups, not with their friends. But so usually I'm like, all right, everybody form a circle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they're all going to be next to each other.
Next to each
next to
other.
their
Then they're
friends.
with a
Yeah.
bunch of strangers. And I give them a scenario. And usually the scenario has a little bit of a twist to it. Like you might all be, I don't know, working at the DMV. Oh, how are you going to act out working at the DMV? Oh, and there's a twist. You're all chickens. So, I want all of you to pretend you're chickens working at the DMV. Now, I tell this to the group and only the group, and then I go on to the next group and I'll give them a scenario and the next group and the next group. And then I pull in 2 or 3 or 4 of the managers and I will have them act this skit out for about 90 seconds in front of the managers, and the managers get 3 guesses. All right, what are they doing? Now, they're either going to be so good and working together that you're automatically going to know it's a bunch of chickens working at the DMV,
Mm,
or it's going to be so crazy chaotic that they're not going to have a clue what they're doing.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
equally, those are equally good
Uh-huh.
because I tell the managers, I say, look who's taking charge. Look who's saying, all right, you do this, I'll do this, you do this. And look who's just standing off to the side going, ugh, chickens at the DMV has nothing to do with the haunted house. Those are your red flags. I don't catch them in the audition process, but I absolutely catch them during my acting workshops. And I have literally had people, we're standing in the middle of a parking lot or in the middle of a field doing this exercise. I have literally had them walk away from the workshop, get in their car, drive away, and they've never heard from this person again.
Wow.
That's a red flag that was solved by acting out chickens at the DMV.
Yeah.
Even better when it solved itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Like,
better to have done it then than 2 days into your season when guests are complaining, why is there no scare in this room? Well, we have a person there. Well, they're just on their phone, or, we caught this person, texting and something. So
yeah, absolutely. We weed them out early.
It's a great improv. Back in 2008, myself and one other member of the Big Scary Show, Storm, he and I took a course from Crazy Bob Turner at the Haunted Hydro out in Ohio called Hauntertainer University. Don't know if you influenced your name from that or not, but
I had not heard of that.
Okay, because he is not. Anyway, but we took that and we became quote unquote certified hauntertainers. And he taught us an awful lot of skills on how to work on your improv.
Mm.
I came up with the one that I just talked about, or at least I started doing that without him. But one of the things he did was, if you're a clown, how can you do research on a clown? How can you do research on a
Going
clown?
to see clowns.
Where can somebody see clowns in this day and age if the circus is not in town?
If the circus is not in town. In this day and age, I mean, YouTube.
Congress.
Ooh,
sorry.
nice one.
Did I say that out loud?
Thanks, Les.
But you're right. Go watch a circus movie.
Yeah.
Greatest show on earth. Jimmy Stewart is in there as a clown.
Mm-hmm. That's
Not credited in the movie, by the way. But, and I got a story I'll tell you off the air about that.
Sure.
If you're a hillbilly, I tell people all the time, especially when I'm working in a haunt up north or something, I say, look, I know the Dukes of Hazzard and down south is a documentary, but up north, you guys can learn an awful lot about Southern speaking patterns and mannerisms. And I will tell you this, I've had a client in New Jersey that ran a hillbilly themed haunt. Let that one sink in for a little bit. And I had to teach these people with Jersey accents.
Jersey accents.
Let's just say exit 3. I think. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But thank you. But I had to say, look, here's how you flatten your voice out. Here's how you start acting like a hillbilly, especially in your hillbilly themes. Here's how you get stuff. Go watch Smokey and the Bandit. Go watch Dukes of Hazzard. Go watch all these old Southern moonshine revenue type movies and learn the mannerisms, learn the visual cues, learn the speaking patterns. You can do the same for Mad Scientist. Go watch Frankenstein. Again. Go watch how the doctor moves and how he acts, and watch a movie with an Igor in it if you're playing an
Igor's
mannerisms. Character. Oh yeah,
Best one
absolutely.
To do? Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
Best Igor ever.
Best Igor ever.
Marty Feldman.
So
still mad I don't have.
There's all sorts of there's all sorts of great ways to work on your improv skills like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you are transitioning, I think, very nicely into the next thing we want to talk about, which is really about preseason training. But before we get into that, let's take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and then we will be right back with Drew Badger from Rabid Badger Haunt Consulting.
right. Well, thank you to our sponsors. You guys are really absolutely delightful. And so we are back with Drew Badger, and we are talking actor training. So we've talked about how do you recruit, how do you kind of weed out your red flags, and, you know, hopefully when they weed themselves out, always a delight. So, and we've also, one of the big things we've talked about is starting much earlier. So assuming that you're doing your recruiting kind of in April, May, late spring, early summer, when do you then shift into your preseason training? So again, trying to get relevant training times, but not too far out that, you know, things get forgotten while still keeping them kind of in the mindset of a haunt actor.
Well, one of the things I really like about a lot of haunts out there, and this is becoming a bigger and bigger thing every year, is that a lot of haunts will do activities with their crews year round. They'll do a Christmas get-together. Not necessarily a Christmas haunt. They'll just get together and have a Christmas party.
Yeah.
They may have a movie night in March. They may have a recruitment fair at their local spring festival or their Easter parade. I have seen and participated in on its haunts doing floats in various holiday parades. And they're passing out flyers and information and candy and stickers and stuff. I think that keeps a lot of the core members together and always thinking about, hey, season's only 8 months away, 6 months away, 4 months away, 2 months away, next week. But it also, builds friendships. I have some of my dearest friends are in the haunt industry, just like you, Keoni. But I think a really good haunt, and I've seen this happen not just with getting together. A lot of them do workshops and actor training things. A lot of them are like, hey, let's spend the month of April working on improv techniques. Let's get together and let's just do an improv workshop. Or let's get together in June and we'll bring in a makeup artist and we'll work on our makeup techniques because we're only going to have one makeup artist and 70 actors, and we want as many people to be able to do what they can to themselves without having to rely on him or her.
Sure.
So, and I see this happening more and more, and I really hope it continues. But a really good rule of thumb for me is about 2 months out, really start getting people interested. I start filling my calendar in August. My busiest months are August and September when it comes to actor training workshops. September, pretty darn full. August, yeah, I'm pretty darn full this year. It's been a good year.
Talk a little bit about like what one of your training sessions looks like. How many days are you spending with a haunt? Because it sounds like you have a ton of haunts that you're going to be working with each season.
Generally, my workshops run about 4 to 6 hours. And I'll come in if I'm, if I have to go to a place like, say, Michigan, and I'm going to Michigan this year. They'll fly me in on a Friday. We'll do the workshop on Saturday. I'll fly out on Sunday.
Sure.
For my local people, I can drive to or something like that. Again, it's just an in and out one day. And maybe I'll do something on Saturday. Maybe I'll do something for somebody else on Sunday. But generally, 4 to 6 hours, I can get pretty much the general gist. I'm not going to tell each and every actor what they must do in their rooms, because that's not my job. My job is to make sure you understand why things work or why things won't work in a place. And I can't stress this enough, to do it safely.
Glad you bring that up.
I spend my first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of my workshops discussing safety. And I do not waver. I always throw safety in there about as much as you throw plugs into this podcast. But whenever I can squeeze it in there, let's do it safely, which is also ironic because haunted houses are basically trying to kill customers with weapons and falling as monsters chasing you.
Safely.
But safely. That's right. The irony is not lost on me, and I hope not anyone else.
or anyone in the industry, I hope.
Nope.
But
So talk
again, I a typical workshop for me, safety training. I'm not going to teach a pass with the fire extinguishers. That's not my job. You need to have, and I believe the state of North Carolina requires you to have somebody with certification to teach that kind of stuff. But we go over basic stuff. Where are all your fire escapes? Where are all your fire extinguishers? How many people on staff are carrying radios? Take care of yourself. How many of you stretch before you work the haunt?
Become very important over the last 5 years.
How many people have ever worked in a haunted house, start the night screaming, and by 9:30, you're talking like this? And you're not, while it's a great effect, you're not really helping the haunt. How many people, especially in warm weather, early October, it's still 85 October 1st in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And how many of you are, cramping up because you haven't had enough hydration?
Not hydrating. Exactly.
And, I'm sorry, Monster energy drinks, as much as we love them, they're diuretics. They take water out of your body. They will cause that crash, and you'll be useless at 10 o'clock or craving another one. Please use water. Please use Gatorade. Please use those electrolyte packets that are so prevalent these days. And start hydrating on Tuesday. Don't start hydrating Friday morning, because you will not get your body in shape or
And
properly
do not finish
hydrated.
Friday out with beer.
Save that for Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
And
After
don't drive.
you're done.
And don't drive, kids, after you've done it.
Precisely.
Naturally.
But take care of yourself. Stretch. Warm your voice up. Make sure that you can do. Make sure that, and this I also teach or talk about in the recruiting process. Are you susceptible to theatrical fog? Do you
or
know?
Strobe lights, or
do you know if you're susceptible? Yep. If you don't know, you better find out before opening night if you're in the room.
Yep.
About 20 years ago, I was working in a haunt, and I was standing underneath a strobe light, and I had a woman come around the bend in the corridor, walk straight up, look straight up at the strobe lights, and have a seizure.
Oh, geez.
Nothing will scare you more in a haunted house than watching a paying customer have a seizure. Thankfully, the door behind me led into the lounge where we had paramedics or EMTs stationed all
Standing
night.
by.
They were able to tend to her, put her in a safe location, take care of her, and we didn't shut the haunt down, which was it was a very busy night. But if you don't know you're susceptible to these things, you better find out.
Yep.
Because
do you recommend doing exposure testing with your actors? Pile them all into a room, hit them up, pile them all into a room, hit them with fog, hit them with strobe lights, hit them with, froggy scents.
I've never personally done that. I don't know of any haunt that personally does that. But definitely when you're doing your dress rehearsals, make sure all your actors go through. When I'm doing a haunt, especially later or in closer to haunt season, we will go through the haunt. Sometimes they're not completed and we can't go through every room. But I do ask them, I say, hey, turn the lights on, turn the fog machines on, turn the noise on. let's see what works. First of all, so they get an opportunity to see their particular room,
Mm-hmm.
even though they may not have been assigned it yet. At least they're seeing what all the rooms are. And secondly, if there is a strobe light, I could see where somebody might be susceptible. Or if there is froggy sense, as you say, and it does start making somebody lightheaded or feeling nauseous, you may need to replace that person with somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I am not a fan of their rotting corpse sense. And everybody I know that works in those rooms uses about 2 jars of Vicks Vapor Rub every season
Mm-hmm.
and just piles it into their nostrils. And boy, you know, you have my respect, people.
Dedication.
I do know of one person that did not know that they were susceptible to gasoline fumes from a chainsaw.
Oh, geez.
And this guy was about 6'4", had never worked in a haunt before. He was not a car guy, so he wasn't around engines and things.
Uh-huh.
But after the first night, he just started developing terrible headaches because the exhaust from the chainsaw, and he wound up going into a different part of the haunt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that was a shame because they were like, "You'd be the perfect chainsaw guy," and he was excited about it. And they didn't give him an electric or anything. They kept the gas powered chainsaw, gave it to somebody else, and he went off and did something else. And there you go.
It's what we got to do sometimes.
I like that idea, though. I might have to suggest that to some of the haunt owners. Hey, let's all put them in a room and gas them. Send them, strobe them,
as
weed out the weed.
Who has susceptibility to strobe lights at
Strobe
certain
lights,
frequencies, smells, I have to be aware. Like as I'm doing any acting, I have to make sure that, you know, no, I'm not in a room with a strobe or adjacent to a room with a strobe where I can still catch the flicker. It's not going to work.
You ever been in a ring with the 18 megahertz frequency, the brown frequency floating through?
No, I haven't done that one.
Okay.
I've not done the brown note.
I want to. I need a subwoofer that's big enough.
It's supposed to just give you a general feeling of unease. It's not supposed to do what happens on South Park. But it, but it definitely is supposed to. It is supposed to cause a general feeling of disarray and uncomfortableness.
Yeah, discomfort.
I am sure that there are haunts that do it and don't tell you.
Yeah. I can think of a couple where probably was happening, but there's no way to know for sure.
I've walked through haunts that I've gone to for years, and suddenly I've had that, oh my God, I'm getting creeped out here, and I don't know why. So either it was something new they were doing, or maybe they were playing the brown note.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so talk a little bit more about other exercises that you're doing during your training sessions.
I've given away all my trade secrets here. Nobody's going to want to hire me anymore.
It's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to be sat down and to go ahead and do
actually go through it. Yeah.
Fair point. Something that we have mentioned on our show many times, because Jim is an actor trainer, I'm an actor trainer, Jonna has done her fair share, Storm has done his fair share. We don't steal other trainers' content, but we are, quote unquote, heavily influenced by other trainers' content.
Sure.
So I have actually worked with people like Alan Hops side by side. We worked together for a workshop up in Michigan, just outside Detroit a number of years ago, along with Michael Edwards, Bart Butler, and we had a great time. But we all looked through each other's training notes, and I was like, "Ooh, can I use some of this for my workshop?" And they're like, "Sure." And they were like, "I like this. Can I use part of this for you?" Absolutely. So, you know, people who may be familiar with some of the other people who do training around the country, you might see a familiar thing. So, you know, string theory is a very common actor trainer method. I attribute it to Alan Hops because I don't know anybody who was doing it before him. But I know of several other people and several other haunts that teach it, and they call it string theory, which you both know what string theory is, right?
I am not familiar with. I mean,
I'm sitting in physics land right now, so you're gonna have to give me the actor version of physics.
But
Basically, the pretext is the world's gravity has increased 500%, and the only thing keeping you up is a piece of string that is attached to some part of your body. So therefore, if you attach it to the bottom of your neck, kind of where your sternum is, the top of your chest, and it was the only thing holding you up, you'd stand up there with your head back, your shoulders back, and you'd be this big heroic type character that you might see like a knight walking around at a Ren fair. I am a knight. I am very powerful. You can see how heroic I am because my shoulders are back and I'm having a big smile on my teeth as I wave to all the common folks out there. Or if you took that string and stuck it between the, is it the scapula, the shoulder blades?
Yes.
But you took it to the shoulder blades, so you're kind of hunched over. And that's the only thing keeping you up. And when you're walking around and that's the only thing holding you up, you have this great Igor type pose, or this serpent type pose, or some kind of crouching monster type pose. And then I have people call out various body parts, which could be very risky at times.
Yes,
Most
the foot
of the
would be a
time,
terrible option.
oh, I get feet every single
I'm
workshop.
sure.
Somebody will
I'm
say, I'll say
sure.
left or right, and they'll say left foot. And I'm like, all right, let's walk as if the only thing holding you up is a piece of string on your left foot. And some people are hopping, some people are high kicking, some people are crawling around on all fours with their left leg stuck high up in the air, and you can see some creative stuff. So that's another one that I do. I take it a step further because at the end of this, let's say we've had 8 or 9 different body parts called out. I'll say, okay, let's take your left shoulder. So everybody lift their left shoulder up. I don't see you guys doing it, but let's lift your left shoulder up and let's throw your right hip out a little bit. And let's pretend that also your knee was also one of those called out, your left knee. So if you can walk around with your shoulder up, your hip stuck out, and your knee raised in an unusual position, you've just created the perfect zombie to shuffle around. Because zombies do not walk upright with their arms out in front going brains. They're sitting there shuffling and shambling in this really weird way. And it's just a neat little exercise to kind of teach the perfect zombie and
character movements,
to teach you body movements and character movements. Exactly. You're
I love
a mad
this because
scientist. What kind
it's making me very aware of how individual parts of my body are moving that I don't normally think about. I love that idea.
And of course, somebody always yells out the butt. So we have to do that one too. But
Downward
I
dog.
saved that one till the
keep
end.
Walking.
I hunch over. I've got a terrible posture, so I stick the butt out and start walking around with everybody else. So it's quite amusing. Trust.
Amazing, hilarious.
But that's one that's really, really popular. And again, I attribute that to add-on hops. And I tell people in the class, I said, this is what I learned from a guy that runs Dark Hour Haunted House in Plano, Texas. So not everything is mine, because there really is, I hate to say, there really is only so many different ways you can teach somebody to jump out of a corner and go blah. You can overemphasize the arm movements. You can overemphasize shuffling. You can overemphasize how you move. One of the things that I do with at least one of my characters, and I encourage other people to do this, I wear 3 knee braces.
While you're haunting,
I keep 2 on my left knee because I have a little bad knee there, and 1 on my right. And what it does is it prevents me from walking correctly. Even when I'm not in character. And I have just this slightly weird looking walk that if you saw somebody just walking down the street that way, you would probably get a little bit uncomfortable. It's not necessarily in your face, but when I'm hired as a freelance, 90% of the time I'm working queues.
Yeah.
And I can't help but walk in this unusual fashion, and it does creep people out.
I love that idea of using medical devices to help you maintain movements and maintain character. And I can even picture doing like elbow braces to keep your arm in a certain position, or putting a boot on, something like that. That's a fascinating idea. And especially for like someone who is brand new and is not very aware of their body and how they move.
Mhm. This can also be an easy way to do that as well, even outside of that, just finding a pair of shoes that's either brand new or very, very old and broken in. It's going
Different
to change how you
sizes,
walk.
different shoe on every foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be careful with the size changings because you can probably screw
You
up
have
your
to
foot
stand on
doing
these
that.
things for 6 hours, people.
That
Remember?
that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do not recommend haunting in heels. Ladies and
Accurate.
gentlemen, please do not haunt in heels unless
Accurate.
you know you're going to be sitting down a lot.
But see, I can
start
wear,
thinking about it.
and again, things that you would put on yourself, make sure you can wear them
Mm.
all night long.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, 3 knee braces to me is not uncomfortable. I'm not clamping them down to where I literally can't bend my knee, but it definitely creates a very cool effect. And I have used shoulder braces. I wear, you know, sometimes I wear clacker gloves. Sometimes I wear compression gloves,
Mm.
which doesn't constrict the fingers or anything, but it blacks your fingers out. You can't see them in the dark
Mhm.
Gotcha. Yeah.
because, how many times have you been into a room that's filled with fluorescent lights and one of the haunters is wearing white tennis shoes?
Mhm.
And they shouldn't be. You're dressed
Yeah.
in all black or you've got a long black cloak on, but yet you can see their white shoes underneath it. Not good.
We have a
God.
great story we tell about John doing this when we were in high school
We can't make fun of him right now. Well,
because
not
he's
to his
not even
face.
here for
Oh, yes, you can. Do tell.
So he was dressed up, long black cloak, kind of Grim Reaper
Grim Reaper.
type character, and he's standing at. So we would haunt my parents' house when I was when we were in high school. So they had this very long walkway going up to the front door that was surrounded by juniper bushes, and so very narrow, brought everyone into a beautiful choke point. And John was there at the end of the choke point, hits the fog as he hears people coming up, so he's like emerging out of the fog, and this little trick-or-treater, gotta be 5-6 years old, is just absolutely terrified, jumps behind his older sister, and his older sister is just like, "Oh, you don't need to be afraid, look, the Grim Reaper is wearing white tennis shoes." Like, John just absolutely died in that moment. It was hysterical.
Oh god, it was great.
Crazy Bob Turner, who taught us Hauntertainer University,
Uh-huh.
he would literally take black spray paint, paint your shoes. He warned you
Yeah.
weeks in advance. You come to my haunt in white shoes to work. I'm
I
going to
will
paint them
paint them.
black. I don't care if they're Air Jordans or Shaqs or Allen Iversons or I'm showing my age or whatever. If they're not black or dark brown, they're getting painted.
Yeah.
And he had photos of black, or he had black shoes, or people would show off, yep, these are the shoes Crazy Bob painted on me. And you were usually wearing them when he did it.
How often have you seen, I'm going to say, mistakes like that just take people out of the scene?
Oh,
What are some of the
many.
most, let me rephrase, what are some of the most common things that you have seen that take people out of scenes?
Number one, not resetting.
Yeah.
Told you this before.
Yeah.
You're in a room, the lights go out, all of a sudden they pop back on, and there's a guy or a girl standing right there going, right in front of your face, and then they don't disappear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate that. And it's frustrating because I'm a haunter. I mean, it's hard to scare me. You can startle me, but it's hard. And for you, I assume the same, and most haunters.
Indeed.
So, when you go on one of those bus tours and everyone's a haunter and they try so hard. And there are people who still get freaked out that work in haunted houses. Don't get me wrong. But, just not being able to reset is a huge pet peeve of mine. Having actors that make no sense in a room.
Mm.
And I got a great
Mhm.
story for you. I was at a haunt in the state of Ohio many, many years ago. No names. And this place was super, super set designed. I mean, everything looked authentic. There was some amazing, the laboratory was great. The doctor's offices were crazy. The dentist office creeped the heck out of people. There's a huge pile of teeth lying there. Just everyone's freaked out. And we're all haunters, and we're like, ugh. And we walk into this one room, and it's a dog leg going to the right. But off to the left, it's a torture room. And there's this guy strapped to a table or a chair, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he's got the scars and everything. And this unbelievably gorgeous young lady with a corset and fishnets and just completely leathered out, holding cat o' nine tails. And she is just whipping this guy, and he's screaming, and she is like, ah, whack, whack. I mean, we know this is the distraction.
Yeah.
We know there's a scare right around this corner. We're haunters. We know this. But it just caught your attention. Turn the dog leg to the right, and there's a maybe a 5'3", 5'4" person dressed as Freddy Krueger going, just hissing at you and waving the glove in front of your face.
Yeah.
I do not remember a single thing after that haunt scene. I cannot tell you what
took you out of
happened.
the whole thing.
Well, I do remember that the guy that was running the chainsaw on the trail was walking up the trail because his chainsaw ran out of gas. And he did say that if you'll wait and let him fill it up, he'll chase you with the chainsaw. We were like, no, we won't do that. And I look at it like, first of all, Freddy Krueger belongs in a boiler room. It does not belong in a torture chamber such as this. Second of all, you shouldn't have a Freddy Krueger because he's a trademark character and you're not paying royalties.
That's one of my pet peeves.
Mm-hmm. Robert Englund is not the tallest guy in the world, but he's not 5'3". And usually Freddy is saying some kind of silly one-liner type of thing, like, how does that strike you? Ha ha ha, or something. I don't know. But not going,
yeah,
and waving the glove in front of your face. So 4 major bad decisions went into putting Freddy Krueger there.
Yeah.
So if you've got a clown in a dentist office,
what is
why?
happening?
Why?
What is happening?
Why?
Yeah.
I've worked as a swing person. I've had to work 4 different scenes in a house before. And I would, let the other people take breaks. I had on a basic black outfit. I worked in a Frankenstein's monster lab. I could throw a white coat on. Great. I went into my second room was a room full of rats. Some might have been alive. Who can say? Don't know. But I would wave rubber rats in front of people, and there was a body there that was covered in rats and all that. Then I went into a kitchen. Again, throw a chef's hat on, throw a cleaver, start chopping up bits of rubber that looked like body parts. And my last scene was a garden shed. And they put me in this half of a broken Jason mask and gave me an air blower because it was enclosed. They didn't want to give me a chainsaw. And they all thought I was Jason for some reason. But I'd come running out of the garden shed with his air blower. And it was electric too, so it wasn't really loud, but you could knock someone's hat off with it. But it was all just a simple black outfit, black pants, black shirt, black jacket, and it worked in all of those scenes for various reasons. But had I been in a clown outfit or kept the white coat on and all this, it just would not have had the same effect. So I think, choose your actors for the right scene too. Make sure it's just not that is just a huge pet peeve of mine. Seeing some guy in a clown mask, well, clowns in general, but somebody in a clown mask, where it's not clown town,
where it's not a clown place.
No.
Yeah.
It's just that's another one of my big ones. But
great tips. All great tips.
We're talking about caring for your actors, pre-warm-ups, making sure you're hydrated, all the resets, everything like that. What do you recommend for actors to do for themselves and for haunt owners to do for their actors during the show as they're acting, as they're going through, and really regardless of whether or not it's a show that's open 2 nights or for the entirety of October? What are kind of the recommendations of things that you would say actors need to do and haunt owners need to be sure that they're providing for their actors?
Number one thing, provide a break. I have worked 6 hours straight. from 7 to 1 a.m.
Mm.
without a break. And I have worked at haunts where I've granted 2 15-minute breaks a night. Great. That works out fine. But do not allow your actors to get burned out and exhausted. What they're doing at 7:30, they should be able to do at 11:30.
Yeah.
Whether
Mhm.
they're yelling, whether they're moving a certain way, whether they're holding props a certain way, doing a line of dialogue, take care of them. Feed them. Snacks in a break room will go a very long way towards keeping your actors from heat exhaustion or dehydration or hurting their voice. A lot of haunts will allow you to bring a small container of snacks or drinks or something as long as you keep it out of sight. Nothing will kill the scene more than walking through a medieval castle and seeing a bottle of Mountain Dew Code Red sitting on the table. So please hide those things and don't drink Mountain Dew Code Red. It's another diuretic. Drink water, Gatorade, Powerade, whatever. But as if I was a haunt owner, I would absolutely make sure that all of my actors were well stocked. Make sure they have cough drops, especially for speaking roles. Make sure they have bug spray, especially if you're out on a trail in the woods.
trails,
If you're in Georgia in early October, it's mosquito season. Trust
It's
me.
never not mosquito
Okay.
season in Georgia. I mean,
Maybe
it's
in
not as bad as
February.
Minnesota, but
Maybe. There's probably mosquitoes in Minnesota in early October. I don't know. The snows are not yet there, but they're close, I'm
yeah.
sure. Make sure they have a safety net. Make sure that there is, in case somebody starts getting in your face. I don't like actors working by themselves.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's necessary, but I like working actors in teams or at least no further away than 20 feet away. Whether the
Yeah.
next scene
Yeah.
is 20 feet away or whether it's something else, because there are times where somebody is going to get in your face. Somebody's going to start causing a problem. If you're by yourself and you're 5'5" and 98 pounds soaking wet, and this is some, defensive lineman from the local high school team who's maybe had a few in the parking lot and just wants to cause a ruckus, make sure they can do what they're doing safely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make sure your managers are constantly checking several times a night. Walk the haunt backwards. Walk the trail backwards, making sure. Do you need water? Do you need a little? Here's a packet of electrolytes. Go put it in your water bottle. Or here's hard candy. Go get a little sugar rush right at the moment, or something. Or go take a break, which is probably the greatest 4 words you can say while you're working in a haunted house, especially the weekend before Halloween when you've had nothing but conga lines for the past 4 hours.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
take a break.
How do you see breaks working from haunt to haunt? Or, do you ever see a situation where they're stopping the show, giving everyone a break at once, or is it just trying to substitute people out?
Yes, to both.
Really?
I do know haunts that actually do not allow any more groups to come in for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They have one central break in the middle of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
everybody takes a quick break. Everybody gets back to where they need to be. Then they'll start letting groups in. I personally don't like that, but again, it's not my haunt. If
Yeah.
it worked for you and it's worked for you for many years, go for it.
I have had to do that in the past, especially when doing like the haunted ships on my
your
actual
ships.
military ships. Yeah, my cutters. The only way that we could manage it was with a single break in the middle, but I don't like it. I don't like stopping the show. I feel like we're losing momentum when we do that.
It will throw your rhythm, and
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. But while I'm not 100% sure, replacing somebody. I mean,
Mm.
again, I've worked swing positions. And I do think having a swing position to work maybe 3 or 4 rooms, and then you take a break, and then you work those 4 rooms again and take a
Mhm.
break. When I was working as a swing person, we started our show at 7. At 8 o'clock, we started taking breaks. There were
Yeah.
15-minute breaks. So 15, 15, 15, and then me. that took you up to 10 o'clock. Then you did it again. That took you up to midnight, and we closed at 12:30 or 1 o'clock or whenever the last ticket was sold. So it worked out very well. You got 2 breaks.
Everyone's getting 2
total,
breaks. Yeah.
And you had somebody in your room
at all times.
At all times. Some rooms you can get away with not having somebody there for 15 minutes. Let the animatronic take it, or let it be a spot where you can actually give the customer time to calm down slightly.
Reset.
So you
give them a reset.
Yeah, that reset for customers is also good, which is why so many haunts have like long, dark corridors. Because if you're overstimulated for too long, you literally will get the tunnel vision. You'll shut down. You're not enjoying the rest of the show. You need that calming moment in there. So, it has its moments. I highly recommend just having a swing person who's well adaptable to go do this room, this room, this room, and this room. And you have them in sections. So if you have 20 rooms, have this guy do 4, this guy do 4, this guy do 4, this guy do, etc.
Yeah.
They just seem to me to work more efficiently than just taking the break in the middle of the show.
Yeah, so. I generally agree with you. When you are acting, what are you bringing with you to help you get through the night? You already mentioned cough drops. You already mentioned, small snacks. Are there particular things that you look for?
I subsist on the fear of the people on medicine.
And when they're not scared, what do you subsist on then?
Their giggles and laughs, because I launch into comedy routines at that point. If you cannot be, there are people who disagree with me on this, but I always say, if you cannot be scary, be entertained. At the end of the night,
we are there to be entertaining.
That's it. Leave them with a memory one way or another.
Nobody's going to remember the animatronic in the 4th room, but they will remember that actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially ones that catch visual clues. When I work the queue lines, I'm doing things like I live in a predominantly blue-collar area. I see a lot of people coming to haunts with blue work shirts. You know the type. Blue work jackets. A lot of times they'll have their first name on that jacket, and they don't realize it. Oh, look at this. This guy's name is Marty. So you might come up behind Marty and say, "Hey, Marty," and walk away. And while Marty is confused, I'm feeding off that confusion, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Or I may go to the front of the house and say, "Hey, everybody, Marty's coming through." And then you'll hear slowly wafting through the house, "Marty, Marty, Marty." And I have seen people, and I hate to say I'm guilty of this. I have had people refuse to go into the haunt because they know
now they feel targeted.
They're looking for Marty.
That's right.
And they still to this point do not understand why or
they
how.
know there's a Marty.
They know this
around.
guy's name, and it's sitting right on your jacket, Marty of Bob's Mechanic Shop. But since I normally work as a queue line actor and I have to stay in character all the time, it is easier for me to duck behind a concession stand to take 5 minutes. Or to walk up past a manager and say, "I need 10. And they say, "Okay," because I'm not able to get that break between groups coming through. When you're queue line, you're on from the moment you get out there to the moment you leave. So,
but you're also not you're not in a location that people are expecting you to be there when they walk through. They are going to be there in the queue for a while. You will have plenty of opportunities to get them. If not now, then after your break.
Well, I think, and this is an interesting segue. If you listen to the current Big Scary Show at bigscaryshow.com, we talk about the importance of the haunt midway on our current episode 369. So they're not necessarily waiting in the queue lines anymore. Yeah. They're going off to the concession stands. They're going off
using time ticketing and all.
Going and throwing axes, or going and having a drink at bars that are sprouting up at haunts all around. That's a whole different topic there.
Spending money? What? Elsewhere?
What?
Fancy.
No, we are not doing an axe throwing booth, Leslie.
Yes, we are.
They're out there enjoying themselves and not having to wait in line.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
you get to menace them while they're grabbing a hot dog or while they're, watching their buddies, have fun at the 3D camera thing
Yeah.
or whatever. Stand outside the little monster museum with some movie memorabilia out there and pretend to be part of the display, or just stand outside the porta potties until one opens it. Or hide inside one. That's when the real fun begins. I won't say I've done that, but boy howdy, people didn't have to use the porta potty after that's happened a couple
I
times.
bet. That feels dangerous, targeting people when they gotta go already.
Well, they don't expect it, and usually they back up enough because I would hate to be trapped in one of those.
Yeah, seriously.
But I've been lucky I've never had that happen. And I actually know of a haunt that one of their queue line guys is a clown, and there's a row of porta potties, and they're all that porta potty blue,
Yeah.
and then there's one covered in polka dots at the very end, and you can faintly hear like calliope music.
Oh my god.
Brilliant.
But
I
if
love
you
that.
decide to go and open that door, do so at your own risk.
Out freaking standing.
Need to get Bruce to do that.
Oh my gosh, I want to see that show. Well,
No names.
no names, no names. Well, we are
Brilliant.
we are at a point where I think we need to start wrapping it up. I think we shoot for an hour-long show, and I think this was probably going to go a little bit longer than that, but for good reason, I think.
Whose fault is that, Keoni?
Leslie's. No, it's definitely
Okay.
John's. It's John's fault.
John's
Okay, I
fault.
blame John.
And we'll blame John.
We usually do.
Well,
When he's
Drew,
not here to defend himself, it just makes it easy.
especially. Yeah. Drew, give a quick shout out for your social medias, where people can find Rabid Badger, Hunt Consulting, as well as the Big Scary Show.
I will say this. My season is 98% booked. If you need an
I wanna
actor
bring that up too.
workshop, you better contact me ASAP. I think out of the 12 weeks I work, I think I have 1, maybe 2 available days. I do have some weeknights available for local to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I'll drive a couple of hours, but I do run special rates for haunts in the Carolinas, North and South. If you're not in those 2 states, oh well. But starting November 1st of every year, I do run a very interesting special beginning at 12:01 a.m. The first haunt that confirms my services for the next season. I do run a very nice discount. So be thinking of that if you can't get in this year, but you cannot contact me unless it's through the website until after 12:01 a.m. on November 1st. But that website is rabidbadger.org.
And
So
listeners, you can
check-
find a link right here in the show notes.
Well, that just makes it even more convenient.
I
Thank
tried.
you for
We
that.
try.
As far as the Big Scary Show, we have been doing this longer than any other haunt industry podcast in the entire world until proven otherwise. We started in 2012. We are now working on year 15. We just had our 14th anniversary back in April. We have 369 shows. Every other week we have music, we have the latest news, and it's a lot of hiring news right now. So people are recruiting this early.
Yeah, you
We
want a place
have-
to get your recruiting done? Advertise on the Big Scary Show.
We may or may not be full of advertisements, but we'll see. But we have roundtable discussions on various topics in the industry. The current show, as I mentioned, is talking about haunt midways with a bevy of haunt owners who have very cool midways. We've talked about everything from mask versus makeup, charity haunts, home haunts, makeup artists. We've even talked about late night horror ghosts here. And some of our Halloween shows tend to be very, very cool. I think the coolest show we ever did, we had Victoria Price on the show talking about her father, Vincent. You may have heard of him.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's cool.
And I will be seeing her in about a month at CreepyCon in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Big Scary Show will be having a booth out there. So please come by, say hi, give us a shout out, tell us what your haunt is doing. I know I'll be talking to all the Tennessee haunts that'll be vending at that. And I will be at your favorite show and my Midsummer Scream the week after out in Long Beach, California, August 7th through the 9th, which happens to be my birthday weekend. No numbers mentioned. And the Texas Haunters Convention, Jonna, the old crone from the show, will be at that. So I'll make sure she comes and talks to you. But you can find that and everything else Big Scary Show related at bigscaryshow.com. All the social medias, look up Big Scary Show, Facebook, Instagram. I know we don't have TikTok because none of us know what it is because we're all old, decrepit, and you know the old saying, those that can't do teach. So we
Here we
just
are.
teach actor training now instead of limping around with 3 knee pads because we need them as opposed to making a cool effect these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But go check out bigscaryshow.com. Check out rabidbadger.org or orgy, depending on if you're
Perfect.
PG-13 or not.
Right. All right. Well, Badger, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us. You gave us a ton to think about, and God bless, we need to start recruiting. I think we're 2 months behind already. As usual.
Always
Also
have.
6 months
That's
behind
right.
on building and everything else because you've been building important things too. So it's going to be another year for the books where we're going to make this work come hell or high water.
One way or another.
6 months or less. Well, 3 months or less.
3 months or less at this point.
You know, I love talking to you, Keoni.
Always. It was great seeing you at East Coast. I wish we'd had more time to catch up, but it was a whirlwind of a trip. But we'd definitely be looking for you at the next convention that we're at together.
Well, that would be what?
That's a great question. Hopefully it's not East Coast next year. Hopefully it'll be something sooner than that.
Brands World, February, St. Louis.
I hadn't thought that far ahead. Maybe HauntCon, because I'm putting serious thought into that one next March.
We shall see if we show up in Florida at that point. You never know where we pop up. I'm on the damn road all the time. I'll be having my countdown farewell to retirement tour at that point. So
yes, love
October 27th, baby. I hit the big 30 and I'm out of there.
Super.
Beautiful.
That's super exciting.
We'll see.
Congratulations. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pensions. Wish they existed for, us.
I can see the
folk.
jealousy in your eye.
Seriously.
The only disadvantage is you're old like me if you still have one.
There is that.
Yeah, but you have one.
Would you rather have one or be old?
At this point, have one, because then I have a plan.
Yeah.
That's a better plan than what I've got right now.
Better plan than what's going on right now.
Just keep buying them lottery tickets. I know next week you'll be your lucky week.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you next time.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Badger.
Good night.
I am so glad you finally had an opportunity to meet him and talk with him and pick with his brain.
You don't spend this long in this industry or any industry without gaining the level of knowledge, experience, and stories that Badger has. And to have the opportunity to discuss his expertise and find out, really the good ways to do things, it's unparalleled.
Every time. And he is just one of the absolute nicest people that I have ever met. Always has a kind word to say, always takes the time to we chat, talk about our families, talk about work, what's going on in our personal lives, even beyond what's happening in the industry. And every time I see him, he makes a point of dragging me around and introducing me to really cool people. Mm-hmm. So absolutely love him. He is a phenomenal person. People, if you ever have a chance to run into Badger at a show, take the time, introduce yourself, chat with him. He is a absolutely wonderful human being.
And while we are woefully behind on our Big Scary Show listening, it is one of the best places to, really know what's going on in the industry, find out what's coming up next, new trends, new experts. It's worth it. And again, they've been around the longest. They're, pushing almost 400 episodes. If they just hit 369, take advantage of their expertise. And on top of it, it's just a damn good show.
It is a great show. Absolutely. Oh, so where are we? We are July 15th. That means we are August, September. We are basically 2.5 months from opening Sanguine Creek Estates 2026. I have been doing a lot of thinking less about our midway, quote unquote. Yeah, we do not have an actual midway.
No, but we do have things to
We have
entertain our
entertainment
guests
outside of the
walkthrough.
Absolutely. And I really want to add to that a little bit more. I am reaching out to the AI guys that were at East Coast.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't remember the name of the I haven't
okay.
heard back.
I'm waiting for the rest of that sentence.
So I want to reach out to them because I think I want to try to incorporate some kind of interactive animatronic or ghost into our property this year. Because I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I think it would be, and I think it's also something that let's test it out in a couple of different places and concepts and see what we like, what works. Because, I know we talked when we did the East Coast wrap up of just kind of, again, how would this work, knowing kind of the era that we're working in, what we want the haunt to do, my opinions on AI and other such things. So let's test it out and see where it's going to be the most effective for kind of building that engagement base.
Yeah, I concur. So I'll reach out to them, see what we can do to get our hands on one, even if it means paying money for it. And then we will go for there.
I can just hear John crying in the background. What do you mean pay money for something we could possibly steal?
I'm glad you're here.
This is what happens when you're not here, because we have to make fun of you and fill in the blanks. And it's just not nearly as good without you.
But I'm glad you are here less so that someone can talk about theft, because this would not be a Haunting You podcast without discussions of theft.
No, it really wouldn't.
Well, we have been going for way too long tonight. I think we just wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Les?
I love what we do. I love the people that we get to engage with and meet and befriend and get expert advice from. I love it.
Same.
I really do.
Same.
And I hope everybody who listens to the show, I hope you're finding things that you love, whether that's haunting or something else entirely, or just listening to us be absolutely absurd.
All of the above and more. You can find all of the above and more at our website, hauntingyou.com, using just the letter U. And that will also give you links to all of our social medias. That's facebook.com/hauntingyou, Instagram at Haunting University, and YouTube at Haunting You, just the letter U. You can find everything that we are doing with the podcast, with the haunt, on all of those. So please like, subscribe, share it with your friends, do all of those things. Because as we get closer to the season, there's going to be much more happening on all of those social medias as well.
Yes.
In the meantime, though, it's time to go to bed because we have to get up for and actually do work tomorrow morning. So take us out, Les.
From all of us here at Haunting You, and a great big thank you to Drew Badger. Really hope you guys were able to get something out of it. Again, start your recruiting early. Start your training early. Make your staff uncomfortable in the appropriate acting way.
In the appropriate acting way. Think Whose Line. If you really want some great skits and ways to start kind of testing improv and practicing improv, watch Whose Line Is It Anyway. If you would like an expert to come on, reach out to Badger, but you'd be reaching out now for next year because he is booked. And keep haunting, keep being scary, and keep having fun. So, from all of us here at Haunting You, happy haunting, and thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody. We are incredibly grateful to all the sponsors who make this show possible, especially our premium sponsors, the Chamber of Haunters and VFX. You can learn more about our premium sponsors by checking out their websites at chamberofhaunters.com and vfxcreates.com. Check out our website at hauntingyou.com for more information on everything that we do. Haunting You can be reached via Facebook at facebook.com/hauntingyou with just the letter U, or on Instagram under the handle @hauntinguniversity, and YouTube under the handle @hauntingyou. Haunting You is a production of Sanguine Creek Entertainment. All audio clips and sound effects are used under a Creative Commons Attribution or Public Domain license from Purple Planet Music at purple-planet.com or the Sound Bible at soundbible.com. Please see the show notes for more information on all the clips used in this episode.